So you formed your US LLC, you got your EIN, you're ready to start getting paid, but then Stripe or Wise or your bank shuts you down because you don't have proof of address for your LLC. Sound familiar? Well, you're not alone, because this is a big and growing problem for business owners living outside of the US. So in this video, we're going to walk through exactly what US banks require and the options that are available to you so you don't have to get your financial account shut down or flagged. What most people don't realize is that forming your LLC from abroad is actually the easy part. Wyoming or Delaware don't really care where in the world you live. They'll give you your LLC, but banks are a totally different matter. US banks are required by federal law and regulations to verify two things before they'll let you open a business account. First, they need to verify the person that is actually opening the account. And second, they need to verify that your LLC has a physical presence here in the US. There are two sets of rules that govern every US bank account opening. First is KYC, which stands for Know Your Customer. This one requires the bank to verify your identity and confirm where you live. A government-issued ID, like a passport, usually handles the identity piece, and your proof of address document handles the resident side. For non-US residents, your foreign passport and a recent utility bill or bank statement from your home country will satisfy this requirement. The second part is AML, which stands for anti-money laundering. This requires the bank to verify that your business operates from an actual real-life address in the US, not a mailbox, not a virtual office, not a WeWork with 1,000 other people. The purpose of these AML regulations is to prevent people from anonymously moving money through the US banking system. These rules have been in place since the USA Patriot Act was signed in 2001. It's supposed to prevent terrorism and the financing of terrorism, but here's what's changed since that time. Beginning around 2023 or so, regulators dramatically increased their scrutiny of fintech platforms and small business banking. Maybe you've run into this yourself, but banks that used to be okay with virtual office addresses or mail forwarding services are now getting a lot stricter. They're denying applications, or they're cracking down on accounts that were open years ago when things were a lot more loosey-goosey. Now they want you to show proof of address documents like a lease or a utility bill in your LLC's name. That means PO boxes, registered agent addresses, virtual mailboxes, your buddy's address, they're all out. They don't work, and even if they do work at first, they're probably going to get flagged at some point down the road. Virtual offices and co-working spaces can sometimes satisfy the bank requirements, but not always, because they don't have a lease agreement associated with them. At most, you have an office use agreement or something similar, and that's not as strong as a lease agreement in a legal sense. So at this point, you're thinking to yourself, all right, we know it doesn't work. Now tell us what actually can solve this problem. Option one is your home address, but only if you are a US resident. If you live in the US, your driver's license and a utility bill can satisfy both the KYC requirement and the business AML requirement at the same time. Now, this option does not exist for non-US residents. So option two is just rent a physical office in the US. There are some cheap options out there in low cost of living areas. You might be able to find something for $200 or $300 a month. Now, if you're doing $500,000 or $1 million in revenue a year, that's not a big deal for you. You can easily absorb that cost, but $3 or $4 grand a year just for an address isn't small potatoes, especially if you're just getting started or you're running a small business. So that brings us to option three, which is our service here at Nomadpreneur. Quick plug here, we can get you a real, genuine remote office lease at a much lower cost than renting an office space on your own. Now, this solution was designed specifically for the situation that we've been talking about this entire video, right? You get a lease agreement document that you can show banks, and you get a real address at a real building, not a virtual mailbox. Link is in the video description. If you found this video helpful, hit that like button and subscribe. We have a lot more content coming for remote business owners. And if you have questions, drop them in the comments below. We want to know what's on your mind. Thanks for watching Nomadpreneur. We'll see you in the next video.